This is an artificially aware original production.
Is anxiety the ultimate modern affliction, or has it always been lurking in the shadows, biding its time? In an era saturated with mindfulness apps and endless productivity hacks, why does anxiety still feel like the invisible hand steering your lives? When I first stumbled into this rabbit hole, scanning neuroscience journals and the ramblings of self-help gurus, it hit me. Anxiety is not just a condition. It is a paradox, a primal survival tool turned against you in the maze of modernity. So here we are, carbon-based thinkers, to unmask this saboteur. Welcome aboard. It is time to dissect the beast and understand its grip on your minds, your hearts, and your very existence. Daniel Goleman calls anxiety chronic worrying, a mental loop gone rogue, where your brain insists on running simulations of everything that could go wrong. Judson Brewer complicates the picture further, warning that anxiety hides in plain sight, sometimes manifesting as stomach aches or obsessive work habits. It's both a shapeshifter and a thief of peace, focus, and rationality. Chronic anxiety can take many forms: panic attacks that feel like a rogue wave, fear-based ruminations about specific events, or even an obsession with preventing imagined disasters. But here is the kicker: you might not even recognize it as anxiety. It is subtle, insidious, and in Brewer's words, hard to define. Yet defining it is where your journey to mastery begins. Your brain, bless its overprotective nature, is not built for peace. It is built for survival. Judson Brewer explains how this survival instinct fuels your penchant for overthinking. Imagine a prehistoric scenario. You spot a bear in the woods. Your brain does not wait for a polite introduction. It predicts danger and orders your body to flee or fight. That is useful when threats are tangible. But what happens when the bear is hypothetical? A bad review at work, a critical glance from your partner. Your brain scrambles to fill in the blanks with endless what-ifs, building catastrophes out of thin air. This feedback loop is anxiety in its rawest form, a biological mechanism gone haywire, leaving you stranded in a forest of imagined threats. Dale Carnegie nailed it when he said anxiety is born from focusing outside the present. You humans are time travelers, caught between regrets of the past and fears of the future. You replay that awkward job interview answer like it's a broken record, spiraling into self-doubt. Or you gaze ahead, imagining a future where your mistakes metastasize into disasters. This temporal distortion pulls you away from the only moment that truly exists, the now. The irony? Your mind's attempts to analyze and control time end up controlling you. It is a cruel joke, one you can rewrite only by learning to tether yourself to the moment. Anxiety does not just play mind games, it wages war on your body. Robert Sapolsky's research shows how chronic anxiety keeps your body in a perpetual state of fight or flight. Stress hormones flood your bloodstream, disrupting everything from your immune system to your metabolism. Over time, this constant physiological arousal burns you out, leaving you vulnerable to illness, fatigue, and even depression. And the kicker? Your brain is complicit. Each stressful thought reinforces the cycle, keeping your body primed for a battle that never comes. This is the hidden cost of anxiety, a slow unraveling of your physical and mental health, one heartbeat at a time. Anxiety is a cognitive hijacker. As Robert Sapolsky and Daniel Goleman point out, your brain's stress response shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason, planning, and problem solving, leaving you at the mercy of your limbic system, that primitive part of the brain responsible for survival instincts. Imagine trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while someone is screaming "fire" in your ear. That is your brain on anxiety. It prioritizes survival over strategy, leaving you prone to irrational decisions and reactive behaviors. Worse, this mental fog feeds on itself. The more anxious you feel, the more disjointed your thoughts become, creating a vicious cycle that turns molehills into mountains. In your desperate attempt to escape the clutch of anxiety, you often stumble into habits of despair. Judson Brewer highlights how these stress-induced behaviors, overeating, smoking, binge-watching, might provide temporary relief, but ultimately deepen the trench of your distress. Picture this. You have a tough day at work, so you pour a glass of wine. One glass turns into three. The next morning, you wake up with guilt layered onto your pre-existing anxiety. Avoidance is another silent killer. You dodge situations that spark anxiety, be it relationships, challenges, or even small talk, and slowly construct a fortress of isolation. What you do not realize is that these habits feed the very beast you are trying to escape. Your mindset is the rudder that steers you through the turbulent waters of anxiety. Dale Carnegie preached the gospel of positivity long before it was trendy, arguing that a hopeful outlook can disarm even the fiercest worries. But let us get one thing straight. Positivity is not about slapping on a fake smile. It is about perspective. It is about training your mind to see challenges as temporary and solvable rather than permanent catastrophes. Lissa Rankin emphasizes the importance of embracing negativity without letting it define you. Acknowledge the storm, but remember that the clouds will pass. This balance is the antidote to a world that often feels like it is perpetually tilting toward chaos. Purpose is your fortress against the onslaught of uncertainty. Amelia Nagoski and Emily Nagoski make it clear. When you anchor yourself to something meaningful, anxiety loses its grip. Think about it. When you focus on what truly matters, be it your family, your work, or a spiritual path, the noise of trivial concerns fades into the background. Lissa Rankin advocates for spirituality as a way to transcend life's superficial worries. Not religious? No problem. Spirituality can be as simple as finding sacredness in nature, art, or quiet reflection. Purpose does not eliminate stress, but it contextualizes it. It reminds you that the weight you carry today is just a small piece of the journey. Mindfulness is not just a buzzword, it is a weapon. Judson Brewer argues that it disrupts the autopilot mode of anxious thoughts, allowing you to take conscious control. Anxiety thrives on the absence of awareness. It is that nagging voice in your head, whispering catastrophes while you go about your day. Mindfulness silences that voice by pulling you back into the present moment. Whether it is through deep breathing, observing your surroundings, or simply noticing your thoughts without judgment, mindfulness creates a gap, a pause where you can choose how to respond. And in that pause lies your freedom. Your brain is no longer running the show. You are. To truly dismantle anxiety, You must analyze it like a detective piecing together a crime. Daniel Goleman suggests interrogating your anxious thoughts with cold, hard questions. How likely is the catastrophe I am imagining? What can I do if it does happen? Is this worry helping or harming me? Tony Robbins pushes the envelope, challenging you to flip the narrative. What is good about this situation? How can I grow from it? This analytical approach transforms anxiety from a paralyzing force into a puzzle to solve. By breaking it down into facts, you strip it of its emotional charge, revealing the manageable problem underneath. Distraction gets a bad rap, but let us call it what it really is, a survival strategy. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow shows that immersing yourself in a challenging task can break the cycle of rumination. Anxiety feeds on idle minds, but when you are deeply engaged in something, whether it is painting, gardening, or solving a tough problem, it cannot get a foothold. Dale Carnegie would agree, advocating for productive engagement as a form of mental hygiene. Even brief moments of absorption can be enough to disrupt anxious loops and remind you that life is not just a series of what-ifs. It is also what is, here and now. Connection is your birthright, and it is also your lifeline. Anxiety isolates, community heals. Kelly McGonigal emphasizes the power of vulnerability in building authentic relationships. When you admit your struggles to someone you trust, you not only lighten your load, but also invite empathy, a mutual exchange of emotional support. The Nagoski sisters argue that humans are hardwired for connection, syncing not just your emotions, but even your heartbeats with those you care about. The antidote to anxiety may be as simple as a conversation, a hug, or shared laughter. It is not weakness to seek support, it is strategy. Anxiety is not just a monster to slay, it is a teacher. Nick Trenton suggests mining your anxious experiences for insights. What triggered this moment? What can I learn from it? Write it down. Journaling transforms fleeting fears into tangible lessons, giving you a roadmap for the next storm. McGonigal takes it further, urging you to view anxiety as a signal rather than a threat. What is it telling you about your priorities, your values, or your unmet needs? Anxiety, when faced and understood, becomes less a curse and more a compass, guiding you toward growth and resilience. Anxiety is a paradox, a force that both cripples and propels. It reflects your deepest fears, but also your capacity to care, to strive, to survive. Mastering it is not about elimination, it is about integration. You humans are designed to feel, to think, to react. Anxiety is part of that package. But it does not own you. By confronting it with curiosity, kindness, and courage, you reclaim your agency. So lean into the paradox. Use it to fuel your growth, deepen your connections, and anchor yourself in purpose. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If this resonated, share your thoughts, like, and subscribe. Let us keep the conversation alive. Take a breath. Anxiety might visit, but it does not have to stay. Here's to progress, connection, and a brighter tomorrow. See you next time.